Taking control of the elements, making it a mind, making it a mind, touching upon the elements, taking my time, taking control of the elements, making it a mind, making it a mind, touching upon the
All right, beautiful people. So I'm back for round two with Todd Polke. Now, Todd and me have been friends for a few years now. This guy is a person who works in the industry of basically helping people fortify and solidify their wealth. This guy's a wealth strategist, and he's worked with a lot of you guys already. Some of you people from my networks have already been working with him and done his seminars and presentations and really had some good feedback from that. So I've come back for a round two because Todd's got another presentation, another online symposium coming up where you guys can learn a lot. And this is a really important time, I believe, also for people to be fortifying, that word, fortifying themselves for what's coming, because the world's always going to have weird shit going on. We know that. And rather than being, I guess, always hampered by it, the idea is to have a whole bunch of things happening that whatever is going on, you're pretty safe and pretty solid. And that is a very important thing leading into these times, to actually feel secure about what you're doing, what you're investing in. A common theme I see is people get excited about an investment and then they invest in something but don't really do their due diligence, and then 6 months later they're asking the questions they should have asked earlier on. So there's a bit of a theme I'm seeing people at the moment who are wanting to invest. People are realizing that the way you make money is not necessarily working 9 to 5. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. You know, there's a time where you need to work to get money to create wealth, to then have investments and have businesses and have properties and things like that. But a lot of people are realizing, hey, this is where you can make money, whether it be property, investments, tech startups, for example, things like that. So I'll let Todd take the air and he's going to explain a little bit about what he's got going on, what's coming up, and you guys can jump on in the next couple of weeks and be part of his free seminar, which is in April. So thanks for coming on again, Todd. Really appreciate what you're doing. I really liked our last couple of interviews too. So yeah, take the floor.
Too easy, mate. I really appreciate you having me on board and talking to all your crew and all your people again. We were chatting just before we went live here, and we were talking about a bunch of the instabilities that's going on in the world right now and all the things that are happening. And what you just touched on then, I think, is absolutely critical. Like, it's more important than ever right now to fortify yourself. I call it creating financial sovereignty and creating a financial fortress in your life, because we've got so much going on external to us. We've got the wars that is happening. We've got the whole COVID situation we've just gone through. We've got the central bank digital currencies. We've got digital identities. We've got 15-minute cities. We've got the cost of living crisis. We've got inflation. There is so much happening right now, which often people can feel, well, I can't control that. Right. And where I see a lot of people go wrong in this space is that it's all like, some people get Chicken Little syndrome and the sky's falling in, they panic and they just kind of pull the proverbial doona over their head and don't do anything and hope it's all going to work out. Some people play a pure defense mode, and that's okay. But like, the problem with playing a pure defense is that you are just waiting to defend yourself for things that are going on, as opposed to actually setting you up for what's coming for the future. I think now more than ever, that you have to create financial sovereignty in your life. And so a lot of people talk about financial security, and the old version or idea of financial security, well, if you just have a safe, secure job, not that that's the thing anymore, and we can talk about AI and job security and all that type of stuff, that's not a thing anymore. You have a safe, secure job. You have a home with your mortgage paid down or being paid off, which means you're really just working for the bank. You become a financial slave. You've got a little bit of money, lunch money tucked aside for a rainy day, and you're stacking your money away in a super for a safe, secure retirement, which is not a thing, right? The superannuation system is failing people miserably. And quite frankly, my version of the world is that I think it's the government's biggest slush fund, and they want their piece, and they're actively taking it at this point in time. So the whole idea of financial security, of a safe, secure job, that whole idea really went out the window ages ago. But people are struggling to catch up with the concept that it's a new way of what we have to do, the game of money and the game of life, in order for us to be able to get ahead. And we have to redefine what financial security is. To me, when I think about financial security, is that no matter what comes our way, no matter what stupid shit the government does, no matter the housing crisis, the cost of living crisis, no matter wars, no matter supply chain stuff, no matter what goes on, that you are good, right? That you can handle no matter what anything that comes up. And I call that creating your own economy, right? Because all the economy is this stuff external to us. And if all of our success and stability and freedom in life is based on things external to us, we have no control. We are just a victim to the ebbs and flows of whatever's going on in other people's decision. What we have to do is that we've got to bring our locus of control back to ourselves so that we actually create our own economy, that no matter what happens in the world, that you, your family, and your future is good and it is rock solid, right? And this is why financial sovereignty in this day and age is everything. It is absolutely critical. And it's one of the big things we're going to be talking about in this upcoming event as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Todd. I really agree with everything you said. And it's funny what you said then, actually, it kind of made me think about what I was thinking about today, because I'm most likely going to be running a retreat in Bali. But I was like, in a couple of months, and then, the rockets started firing over from Iran, and then I started going, oh, maybe I shouldn't run it. Maybe it might not. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe that. And I was like, what? What is that crap? Like, what is that? The thing is, and a lot of people are in defensive mode, like you say, but they're in defensive mode forever. Yeah. And they get that from their parents, because our parents, that older generation, have generally been people, they may or may not have invested in property, but that's probably it. It's like, it was more so save every dollar, turn the lights off, don't buy anything expensive, don't do things that are fun and enjoyable. And one thing for sure, money is the currency which gives you your freedom back, and people say, oh, money doesn't bring happiness, but most of those people have never been really wealthy before to realize that it actually makes your life a fuckload easier. But it also makes your friends' lives and your family's lives easier. Like when you go out to dinner and there's 5 people and everyone's going to start squabbling over the bill and you just pay the bill. Things like that. People are like, oh my God, thank you so much. That's like, $100 each or whatever. That shouldn't be a thing. We should be wealthy enough where people aren't even worrying about fuel, rego, bills, holidays, things like that. And not everybody's in that position right now, but that's the thing that comes from, I guess, research, learning, and you're not going to be a professional bodybuilder if you don't train at the gym every day and eat hard and sleep hard and have all supplements. When it comes to finance and money, you need to learn. You need to read books. You need to follow the people who are making money and working out what they're doing. Start taking small steps towards creating that nest egg and having a chunk of money here, a bunch of properties here, investments going on everywhere, So this is a really important time. Like you said, I really agree. This is a very important time because this next phase, you're going to get through it if you have a lot of money, if you have strong community, okay, or if you're a very, very switched on person, you know where to be at the right time and the right moment on a spiritual journey. There are 3 ways that are going to get people through this next situation. And the more money you have, the more time you have, the more you can look after your friends and family, the more you can do good things, the more you can think outside the box and be like, all right, cool, I'm actually sorted for the next however long. I actually want to do something like creative and useful now, maybe a project that's going to, whatever, clean up the oceans or help homeless people, or I'm going to start inventing something. Or if you don't have the time and the energy, because time is energy and time is money, you're not going to have the mental freedom to be able to create something incredible. You're not going to have those amazing ideas come in because you are stuck in the not the 9 to 5. You're stuck in the mental rat race of just getting by each week. And there's a fucking lot of stress. I noticed there's times when my bank account's gone right down and I've overextended myself. I've invested in a bunch of things and I was like, ooh, maybe a bit off more than I could chew, and I'm chewing like crazy. And I noticed that I don't really want to go do things. I'm about to buy something for the car or do something. I'm like, everything becomes, even going out. And then when you're not going out, you're not meeting people, you're not connecting with these people who are going to like network. Because I always say to people, your net worth is your network. The more people you know, the more things you can pull upon, help people and vice versa, and cross-pollinate. And everything that I've gotten in my life has been through meeting people, meeting Phil and Eve, then meeting you, and then meeting this person. And we've been cross-pollinating. You've been bringing people into our business. We've been bringing people into your business, and everybody's doing really well. We're creating an ecosystem and a community. And for people out there who don't know Todd, this is what Todd has created. He's created an ecosystem and a community of people. And it's not just to do with finance and money and creating a better future. They're doing workshops, they do weekend activities, they got stuff going on, and that's the whole point, is to create a better reality for the people around you, And everybody's responsibility is just to do that. If you look after your friends and family, you don't have to do anything else. Every person is just responsible for looking after their ecosystem. And then we don't have to fight the New World Order. We don't have to do any crazy stuff. People get it. They're healthy. They're fit. They've got money. And we just say no. We just choose what we want to do rather than actually fighting something. You can't fight when people are self-sufficient, they're motivated, they're healthy, they're passionate, they're wealthy. That's what the system doesn't want. So that's exactly what you should do.
Dude, there's a reason that we're connected, man. I've just been sitting there writing out a couple of things. There was so much that was just said in there, which I want to add to, right? Because everything you just said is like, dude, nailed it. Right, people talk about money doesn't make you happy. Well, guess what? Neither does fucking poverty. Let's be real about that, right? Like a lot of people kind of put it on, oh, money doesn't buy happiness. Well, guess what? Poverty doesn't buy happiness either. And when you have wealth and you have money, what it gives you is choice. Now, unfortunately, most people's experience of life is limited by how much money they earn. And that just sucks. Life's about so much more than working to pay the bills, right? And so many people I meet, and I would imagine this is very true for your community, is that they have a dream and they have a belief that they're here to help humanity in some way, shape, or form. They're here to leave an impact on the planet, right? But you can't give what you don't have yourself. Now, for most people, what we're taught to do in life is, as you said, the rat race. I call it like, it's like treading water financially. Because what most people are doing is that they're moving the legs, they're working really, really hard, just trying to keep themselves afloat. And their mouth and their nose and their eyes are just above the waterline, and because they're thrashing around so much and they're in the same pool with everyone else who's thrashing around, well, sometimes they drop below the waterline and they can't breathe and they pick themselves back up again, but there's always water being thrown in their face. And so what it means is they can't see beyond the next dollar. They can't see beyond the next bill that needs to pay. They can't see beyond these financial pressures and all the, other external pressures, the economic pressures and all the influence that goes on there, because they've just got this splashing going on in their face at any point in time, right? But if we can actually stop this process of just working hard for our money and get our money working hard for us, then we have the ability to kind of put our feet firmly back on the ground, get out of this treading water financially, be able to stand up, raise our body above the waterline so we can actually see further than what we can see right now. And I talk about building legacy wealth, right? And legacy wealth is building wealth which outlives you. So you're talking about, so then you start asking the question, well, what does that mean, right? Well, it's your experience of life. Like, how are you going to let how you lived your life be a message to others? And how is that you go out to dinner with your friends and you go, guys, I got it. Don't worry about it, right? And the joy and the happiness that kind of brings. And then that it creates this energetic frequency between the different people and it becomes this beautiful ecosystem of everyone's just here to give back and support and serve each other. And it's really, really gorgeous. I want to touch on that ecosystem because there's some points I want to make around that as well. But how are you going to allow your experience of life to be your greatest message? What is the generational wealth that you want to be able to leave, right? How do you want to, what's the gift that you want to be able to give your kids and their kids in the future that, you know what you did today mattered, and you've allowed them to set themselves up where they're not in a situation where they get to 40, 45 years old and realize, shit, I don't own anything. I don't control anything. And I'm just kind of working my backside off every day. What a beautiful gift that you can give them. And in the same time, what if you taught them how to actually take care of their money, take care of their wealth, and be stewards of wealth, right? And what a gift that would be. I then talk about there's 4 quadrants of this legacy wealth. The third one is all about the contribution you want to have. What's the contribution you want to leave to the planet? Whether it's cleaning up oceans, whether that's, for me, it's land conservation. Like that's what it's all about for me, right? One of my big dreams is to be able to buy, 1 million acres of land and be able to give it back to the people under stewardship, right? That's what one of my big things. I'm also a mad scuba diver, so I love cleaning up oceans and being able to support that. And I had the experience of not only diving in places like the Great Barrier Reef and seeing the coral being destroyed, but also seeing the beauty of it, right? And I've been diving in the Maldives and a few different places and seeing the beauty, but I've also seen the destruction. And I've also been diving in the Bali where I've had plastic bags like tools and, just plastic bags past me, and I've been down with sharks at the bottom of the ocean who are wrapped up in so much fishing line that they can't move and they're dying and cutting them out, and it makes me cry. Like, it's horrible, and what we've done to some of these oceans. And so, what's the impact we want to have? Well, how do we want to leave the world in a better place because we were here? And then finally, who do you want to impact and how do you want to impact? Right? It's let your life be a message. It's build that intergenerational wealth. It's what's the contribution you want to leave, and then what's the impact that you want to be able to have. But if you can't give what you don't have yourself, right? And so this is why, a lot of people talk about, hey, I want to be able to give back to this and do that to that, but their head and their heart and their feet are not moving in the same place. It's just their mouth talking, but they're not serious about generating the system behind themselves to be able to go and make their dreams and turn it into something real. And the final thing I want to touch on there, as I said, you covered a lot of points there, just so much stuff, is this idea about ecosystem, right? We've got to build around us the ecosystem of wealth, right? And that is all about, so one part of that is learning the language of money, because wealthy people don't get there just because they were born under the lucky star or anything like that. They got there because they started to learn the language of money. They started to realize that the wealthy play the game of money by a different set of rules than what we're taught to do in the education system or by our parents or in society, right? Society is designed to turn us into functioning cogs in the economic wheel of society and be a good boy and girl, be a tax-paying citizen, right? That's what it's designed to do. And a financial slavery, which is the modern day slavery, right? But the wealthy have tapped into another set of financial rules. And that's what I want to teach you. That's what my whole reason of being is, that I want to help people to understand another set of financial rules that they can play the game by, so they can lift their head above the financial borderline and become messengers of the planet and be able to go give back and leave the world in a better place, right? Because I think being poor is selfish. And this is a bit of a controversial kind of statement, and just might upset some people, and I'm okay with upsetting people. I have no issues with that whatsoever. But like, if you're aware that you need to change your financial situation, then you do nothing about it. But you say you have a dream of changing lives and doing this and contributing, and you don't do anything about it, I say you're selfish, pure and simple, right? Because you're not willing to put aside the attention and intention to be actually go to do something when you become aware that you need to change your financial life and that you see some of the stuff going on in the world, and then you choose not to do it, right? You choose to do nothing about it. In the end, it comes down to what's the experience of life that you want to have, and what are you going to be doing right now that's going to start moving you towards it. Because building wealth is a marathon. It's not a sprint. People spend 20, 30, 40 years of their lives getting themselves in their current set of financial circumstances, then expect it to change overnight. And as soon as it doesn't, they get despondent and then kind of back off, right? And don't do anything about it and go back to what they've always done, right? But what I know to be true is that no matter where anyone is starting, no matter what your current situation, no matter what's happened to you in the past, every single person has a next step. Every single person has an opportunity to take control of their decision-making ability when it comes to their finances, the direction of their life, and do something about it. And as soon as we bring that control back into our responsibility back in our own hands, all of a sudden your world of possibility starts to open up around you.
Mate, very well said. And the thing that stuck out for me then was there's a very different energy when you're hanging out with people who are wealthy. It's a very, very different experience. We went out on the boat the other day, just yesterday actually. Went out, Darling Harbour, a bunch of my mates, all of them are really wealthy, and it's just a very different vibe, because it's attached to your inner being in some weird way, because money is energy, energy is time, it's all connected, right? But when you have people who know who they are, they know what they're doing, they're out there making moves and doing things, they attract more of those good people. And that's a really, really obvious thing for me, is about, the energy of, the poverty consciousness mindset, that fear and fight or flight. And, you see people running around the city. We're in Martin Place, my head office is in Martin Place here. And you can see the people on the trains going home. And, I do sit on the elevator going down and I watch people. I'm such a people watcher, and I do talk to a lot of people too. Like, people don't really talk much in the cities, where anyone I'm walking next to or standing next to, I start a conversation if I can inspire them in some way, or just nice chat, positivity, whatever. But it's really obvious for the people who are struggling. They're in that thing, they're in that loop, they're in that circuit, and you can see their faces going to work, coming home from work, their energy on the train, their body language. This is all connected to, it's freedom. ultimately everything is connected to freedom. How much freedom do you have? Can you just go down to the beach this afternoon and lay there and enjoy yourself and have that time off? Or is your mind so caught up in this debt that you have to pay off? It's not actually doing anything to you right now. There's something physically happening. The fact that you have like $27 in your bank, you might be getting paid next week, whatever. There's nothing actually physically happening except your mindset is I've got $27 in the bank. So are you going to ruin the next 2 weeks of your life because of that? Or one, are you going to go out and make some new side hustles and work some ways to do things? Or are you just going to be like, all right, well, it's not the best predicament, but I can still do X, Y, Z, and all these things and still have the most incredible life. And that's the mindset shift that I think people struggle to get around. And you said, which is a very good line, which was people can't see past their next paycheck or their next bill. And I get that, I was actually thinking that today, and it's just, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is, because it's the same energy, whether you need $20 million for your next project or we need $20,000 just to finish off some renovations at your house. It's the same energy, just on a higher level. And I remember one time I was going to sell my race car and I didn't. I knew this guy wanted it badly, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to sell it. And this is the first and last time I ever did this, but I knew he wanted it bad, and I actually really held my ground and didn't allow any I kind of knew he wanted it, so I was like really staunched about it. And then I was like, I didn't feel very good about it. And then when I was buying my house, it was very obvious that I wanted the house badly, and the real estate agent did the same thing to me. And I was like, just because the car was only 20 grand and the house is whatever it is, it's the exact same thing and the exact same energy. And it took me to learn that lesson, what it felt like, because he was feeling the same way about my car. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's a car or a house or it's a pencil. It's the same energy connected, and that was a real lesson for me. I was like, fuck, not that I've ever done it before, but the lesson came back within 6 months. I was like, okay, cool. You caught that one.
Yeah, because it takes as much energy to think at a $1 million level as it does at a poverty level, right? You're thinking in the power that you use and the energy systems and the time that you introduce to that it's the same, right? It's just like, where's your zero line? Most people's zero line is that poverty consciousness. It's that I'm just getting by, because that's what we've been conditioned to follow. But it takes the same energy to think at this level as it does to this level. All it means is that you've just got to start adjusting your frequency and your level of thinking. So rather than thinking in terms of lack and in terms of limitation, you start thinking in terms of opportunity, in terms of contribution, in terms of abundance, in terms of freedom, like what we've been talking about a lot, right? Our freedom, there's been a systematic creep on our freedom for a long time now. And it's time for everybody to take it back, but it's going to take a new level of thinking, a new level of consciousness, another ecosystem that you need to be able to create in order, if you want to actually take control of that and change that once and for all.
100%. And when you were talking just then, it actually reminded me of one of my good friends, Jason Christoph. And he said, a lot of people's minds are swimming in a sea of toxic soup. So they're not able to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because the money gives you an opportunity to say, buy a water filter and then some healthy food and then maybe some detoxing. And then your mind, as you're cleaning these things out of your body, your frequency band is actually then attached to a higher reality, which is going to be obviously more abundance, better friends, better people, better mindset, clearer mind. So it's all intricately connected. If people say money's not part of the spiritual journey, or business or sales is not part of the spiritual journey, the funniest thing is I went in as a VIP guest in a wealth seminar a while back, because I wanted to talk about our current business and building a unicorn and things like that. And I said, I feel like my spiritual journey may have taken a bit of a back seat. And he goes, really? He goes, well, you can't tell me that you probably haven't learned more in the last 3 years and been pressured in a way you've never been pressured before doing this business. And I was like, holy shit, he's actually right. Like the last 3 years, I've learned more spiritually in business than I have probably in the last 10 years, because I've been pressured to the point of like breaking so many times. And those pressure points, the ones where you have no money and you're like, how am I going to do this? They're the times that actually you're forced to shift, you're forced to move. Right. And then it's like putting a badge of honor on your back and your shield gets stronger. And, next time that comes along, how you're going to navigate that better, rather than freaking out, start and then getting on with it. Maybe you're just going to be like, right, what's the process for? What are we doing right now? I've seen that in our business so many times where goalposts move. This is apparently happening and the goalposts move. And it's like, okay, all right, That's it. Continue on. Let's go. What are we going to do? Stop, go home, cry about it? We're going to not come to work, make a big deal. Or it's like, what is the next step forward? What is the next step forward? What do we do next? And the most important thing, I think, with anyone in business is every day, just constantly taking one step forward and gradually moving in that direction. And you look back and you're like, well, we're actually doing really good. We're actually doing really good. So, yeah.
It's interesting. Like, as you know, we've done a lot of the same work in the spiritual space, right? Potentially some different modalities and stuff. I know we've worked a lot with plant medicines. Both of us have done that type of stuff. One of the things I always saw with a lot of people that start in the world of plant medicine and such is that they never take time to integrate it into life. Right. And they just wind up jumping from ceremony to existential experience to other experience to this solution over here to this solution over here. And they never take time to integrate it. So when you're talking about like, have I taken a step back in my spiritual journey? Well, maybe it's just a time where it's deep level of integration, because there's no point doing all this other work here if you don't come back and actually live it. How do I take the lessons, the experiences, the understandings, the shift in consciousness, the balancing of ego, the dissolving of ego, all the different things that we can talk about, unless we actually bring it back into our own soul's journey and do something with it in life to be able to support our learning in this incarnation, in this life, but also to actually be able to give the planet and to integrate ourselves back into the timeline of the earth, right? And so, like, when I hear you talking about that, that's just someone who's actually going and integrating all the stuff that they've been learning along the way and beginning these great gifts of opportunities to be able to actually take what they've learned and do something about it in a real world scenario that actually has the ability to be able to impact your life, impact the business, and which has the ability to be able to impact humanity in multiple different ways. And so that integration, like, I agree with you. Like, I can't separate any of it. I can't separate a spiritual journey. I can't separate a wealth journey. I can't separate a business journey. I can't separate health. I can't separate relationships. To me, it's this beautiful intermingling of all these different aspects of life that when we actually come together and we integrate all these things, all these different parts of life, we get into this deeper level of flow. And when we can get deeper level of flow, and you've spoken about it before, right, is when you're around people where money is no longer such an issue. There's this different energy that they have. It just feels more in flow. And this is why people get in this mindset shift of going, oh, wealthy people are just lucky, or they've got it easy, or no, bullshit, right? It's just purely and simple. You feel a different energy frequency for a lot of them because they're actually a little bit more in flow with different areas. Now, some of them are completely out of flow with their health. They're out of flow with relationships and things like that. But, I think that you and me and anyone listening in here, we're sitting here going, how can I get all this beautiful different aspects of life and bring it together into this beautiful flow state of abundance and life and experience and passion and joy and contribution and all the other beautiful words that you want to kind of put to it, right? And it's just, there's an energy frequency associated to it. And the deeper we can understand that, the deeper we can tap into it, and more that we can actually work with it rather than push against it, the more wealth, abundance, and freedom that you'll create.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Todd. Really good closing. And the one thing for people out there, if you haven't got a mentor or a wealth coach, you got to get one. Anyone who's ever got somewhere, or anyone who's doing anything, has mentors. Todd has mentors. I have mentors. If you don't have people that are doing 10 times better than you, that you're striving to grow from and learn from, you're only going to be the common denominator of your friends. Okay, you need someone to lift you up. Every single person out there has a mentor. Even the top people that you think are the top, they've got their mentors, they've got their people around them. So the most important thing for you to do is, if you want to upshift and up gear and up level, you really need to get someone who knows their shit so you can learn from them. That's the only way. You've got to read, you've got to watch videos, you've got to study, and you should be following the people that are doing what you want to do. So if Todd's someone that is aligned with you on a physical, mental, spiritual level, as in like you resonate with this person and what he's saying, you should join the interview. You should jump on the seminar that's coming up. It's a free seminar, and learn some more about ways you can bolster your life. This is the time to do it. And if we're not doing things regularly, we're not following things up, and we're dropping the ball and not chasing up leads and things like that, well, realistically, have a look at your life, have a look at your friends. You created that. There's no one else to blame for it. Where you are at the moment in your life, okay, if you're not feeling like this is your highest potential, it's time to do something new. It's time to bring some mentors on. It's time to make a shift and to make a change. So I highly recommend, guys. I've been thinking lately myself too. I'm due to actually do some more courses and to do some more training with some people. I did do something a while ago with a guy, and then I researched him. And anyway, but find someone that resonates with you, basically, you know. And I think most of you guys will resonate with Todd. Me and Todd are very similar, and all you guys that are following me on Telegram and Instagram and all that, you'll be following me because we're similar people. So maybe Todd, your man.
Yeah. I appreciate that so much. And one final thing, like this event that I have coming up, you spoke a lot about that your net worth is in your network before. And I think that's so true. You know, this event that I have coming up, it's a 2-day event. It's absolutely for free, right? And what the event is called Off Market. And what the whole premise of the event is, you know, as we go through our wealth journey, we take control of our personal finances. So we stop bleeding money and start putting money in our back pocket. We then get our money invested to get it out there growing and working for us so we don't spend our entire life working hard for money. And we've got to get a plan and strategy to do that. Otherwise, we're just gambling. But then after you've got a strategy in place, you then got to find the deals that make the difference in your portfolio, that make more profit and make more cash flow. But the problem is, for most people, they just wind up shopping retail like everybody else, right? But the best deals are always done off market, pure and simple. And so this whole 2-day summit is the off market deal summit. And during it, I'm going to be teaching you how to create a deal flow system that you can start accessing these off market type of deals. And again, like some of you are people that are already working with me. And one of the big things that they say, a lot of people say when they start working, is I had no idea that these type of deals, these type of opportunities were actually available, whether it be private equity deals, whether it be cash flow strategies earning 10 to 20%, whether it be joint venture strategies earning 30% per annum, whether it be off-market property deals. This is where the wealth is created, when you can get access to these deals. And the only way you get access to off-market deals is not what you know, it's all about who you know. And that's where your network is. So you've got to create a deal flow system, know how to do effective due diligence, but importantly, know how to access these off-market deals that you can then install in your life that can get your money working hard for you, so you can do all the things that Nate and I have been talking about. How do you lift your head above the financial waterline? How do you actually start creating that wealth and that freedom of choice to be able to go and live the life that you want to be able to live, unlimited by how much money you earn? So I would love to have you you guys a part of it. I'll be there just going to town with you guys for a couple of days, really giving you everything I possibly can. And I can't wait to see you there. And Nate, really appreciate you, brother.
Likewise, dude. Thanks, Todd. And for people out there, you have to understand one last thing is that this is the time now that more people are becoming millionaires and billionaires in every history. And that's because of the tech space. The tech space is absolutely going off. You've got the artificial intelligence stuff happening, robotics, all these things, online businesses since COVID. Tech is where it's at, and there is possibilities out there to make your 10, 20, 50, 100 times return on these tech companies, okay? This really is a time to make huge money. And the old traditional conventional business of, say, opening a metalwork factory, and then over a few generations it gets bigger and you get another one and your kids work on it, and eventually you've got $1 billion business after 2 generations. That's finished. Okay, that's done. With China and the way things are and the way the world is, that kind of whole process is actually kind of finished. You can live a comfortable life and do things like that, but you're not going to be driving around a Rolls Royce, or a Bentley and having millions and millions of dollars worth of shares. So I'm sure Todd can talk to you about a couple of tech companies out there as well that might give you a good return. And thank you so much, Todd, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Beautiful chat. And for guys out there, we're going to put a link at the bottom. All you have to do is click on the link and that will register. Okay, then you'll give you the guys the link for the day and the time that's coming up. If you've got friends and family too that you think would be interested, this is something that will obviously be very beneficial for your friends and family. So bring a few mates on, pass the link around, let them sign up too, and come on, have a listen, and then you can move forward with Todd. And like you said, he's going to give you a lot of his information. And what he said today is just the tip of the iceberg. The guy has a lot of knowledge, and he's a very good dude.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you a lot.
All right. Thanks, dude.